Uh-oh, are the bulls in trouble? We just got a gap down below the 2024 trend line, guys. Let's take a look real quick what has happened every time we had a gap down in 2024. Gap down right here led to some downside, but eventually led to more upside. Gap down right here led to some downside. Looks like the dip was bought, and it led to more upside. Gap down right here on March 4th. Someone bought the dip, led to more upside. Now we got a gap down again. Every time we had like some gap down or some bounce off the trend line, volumes always usually increase so far in 2024, and the price action showed us it went higher, which tells me that every time there was a buying opportunity, the dip buyers stepped up. And once again, you guys can see how the SPY last week gave us the nice pullback to the downside after hitting all-time highs or new all-time highs, and you can see the volume increasing once again. Is this a sign that the dip buyers are stepping up? The context is a little different now. Now we got a gap down below the 2024 up trend line. Unlike before, we was gapping down and bouncing off of it. This time it's a little different. Okay, so we as sheeps gotta stay unbiased and follow the price action. We don't want to get complacent. Okay, as sheeps gotta be ready for all case scenarios, and that's what Uncle comes in. Okay, so yes, we got a gap down below this trend line. That is a bearish price action thing to do. Okay, but we always need follow through. So here are the levels that I'm watching. Bearish follow through. 510 is the level that I'm watching. Below 510 is 508.5. Now this 508.5 area, you guys can see on March 6th, March 11th, even last Friday, March 15th. We had a bunch of buying pressure there. So we can break down that 508 to 508.5 zone. That would be a good victory for the bears. That would be follow through, bearish follow through. Okay, so 508 fails, we are dropping lower, probably down to 505, maybe, just maybe, to fill that gap. The gap's around 497-ish. Okay, guys, that would be bearish if we can break down 508. Now, to be bullish, it's got to recapture the trend line. Might say take some time, but it's got to recapture the trend line. Okay, resistance are 512 and 514. If it can get above 514, that's a recapture of the 2024 up trend line, and that will put all-time highs back in play. Above 414, I got 516, 518, and then new all-time highs above 518 in play. Guys, look to react. Good luck. Triple Q is looking bearish as well. I mentioned if we break down that 539 level, that would be bearish. And in bearish follow through would be to break down 437 and 435.4. We got that. Close around 433.9. So right around my 434 support level. Bearish follow through for this week would be to break down 432.5. If it does, guys, holy moly, 430.4. 428.3 and 425.7 are my downside targets. I will only trust the bounce if it can recapture lost levels. Lost levels such as 435.4 and 437, and especially that 439 level. We lost that level, and around that area, there was selling pressure, as you can see by the wick. So 435.4, 437, and 439 must recapture to be bullish. Otherwise, we're bearish, and breakdown of 432.4 would trigger more downside. All right, NVDA. I got a fib level at 872.8. That's a critical level. If that level breaks down, guys, we are going to waterfall our butt to the downside, maybe down to 862-ish or lower. All right, for me to be bullish, I have 880 must clear first, and that would put 884, 888, 890, and 892 in play. Now, 892 is a fib level, so we could clear 892, 894, 895.5 or higher would be in play. Above 892, possible bottom is in because that's a recapture of a fib level. But yeah, that fib level 872.8, if that fails, guys, get bearish. Tesla lost a fib level as well. The fib level at 166.5. So overall, If the market can base below that level or stay below that level, that's bearish. Okay, we got this crazy waterfall that happened recently. All right, just one directional move to the downside. We could get some consolidation, but overall below 166.5 is bearish. Okay, once I got a resistance at 165 and 166.5. To be bullish, 165 and 166.5 must clear for me to favor a relief rally up to 170 or higher. Otherwise, I am bearish below 166.5, and bearish follow through would be to break down 163, 160, and 158. Below 158, it's going to get a lot nastier. 158 is a fib level. Okay, and below that, I got 156.5. 155, 153, 150, of course. Well, fib level around 149.7. And then below that, holy moly, how much lower can we go? I have the next fib level at 137.7-ish. All right? So trust no bounce unless it get above 166.5. Otherwise, bearish on Tesla. IWM is battling around that trend line, that pink trend line I had since November 2023. Looks like it lost a fib level, the 203 fib level, and it treated it as resistant. Guys, stay bearish below 203. Okay, as long as below 203, bearish follow through would be to break down 201 and 199. Okay, trust no bounce unless 203 can recapture to put 205, well, 204.5, 206, and 207.5 all back in play. Apple, it's still basing, trying to figure out what it wants to do. Still hasn't breaking down that 170 to 171 zone that I had. If it's going to show some follow through finally, it's got to break above 173.5 and 175. Both those levels must clear. It's battling in that zone right now. So both those levels must clear to take out all the sell orders and trigger a relief rally. And this little back test of the support that we had here could be a higher low. All right, I can't get bearish or favor more downside unless 170 fails. If it does, look to short. We are going to drop to a previous low to 169-ish or maybe, well, 168.5-ish or maybe lower down to 167-ish. All right, maybe even lower than that. Just follow and react, guys. AMD, it needs to recapture 194 to put in a relief bounce in. 194, 197, and 200. Those are give us a sign that we would be bouncing. All right, if we break down 190, no bounce, more downside incoming, possibly back down to 184, and below 184 I would favor a test of either 179-ish or fill the gap around 176-ish. All right, guys, Amazon is testing that orange trend line that I have. If it breaks down 174 this week, we are going to possibly drop down to 171.5 and maybe fill the gaps below 169, and this definitely a bigger gap all the way down to 159-ish. Holy moly. For me to trust the bounce, it needs to recapture 175.5 to put 177 and 179 plus in play. Netflix, we had an outside day bullish candle on March 12th. I mentioned to you guys that's pretty bullish, and it did lead to more upside. 615.3 high was on March 12th. And then we got all the way up to almost 623. So almost an $8 move to the upside. Almost. But then we got some selling, profit taking. Look at that. Now we got a bearish outside daily candle. That's bearish. So if we break down 604, we could go back test 595. And below 595, I would favor a deeper pullback to the downside. Maybe all the way down to 586 or lower. There is a gap around 573.5-ish, 4-ish. All right. As usual, we trust no bounce unless we get a false breakdown setup. So 606 and 608 must recapture to put possibly a test of 616 back in play, okay? 606 and 608 must recapture it, all right? And 610 and so on. Google looks like it's trying to put in a lower high. If it can break down, stay below 142.5 and break down 140, I think it will succeed. 138 and lower would be in play. If we got a lower high, possibly we get a lower low. The last pivot low was around 131 to the 132 zone. Could drop lower than that, but it needs to get below 142.5 and 140. Now to be bullish, got to clear 142.5 and 144 to put 146 and 147.5 back in play. Okay, guys. Microsoft pullback. It wants a deeper pullback. It's going to have to break down 415. And that will put 413 and 411.8 in play. There's also that big trend line that we've been watching, that I've been watching. That trend line is aligning with my fib level at 409. So bears take full control below 409. All right, trust no bounce unless 418 and 421 can recapture. If those two levels recapture, we're heading back to all-time highs or maybe new all-time highs. Here is Meta pulling back as well. It broke down that 486 level. Bearish as long as below 486. 481 and 479 fails. That's bearish. Follow through, and we likely could drop down to 473-ish or back down to 470. I would only trust the bounce if 486 recapture. If 486 can recapture, that will put 488, 490, 492, and 493.7 in play. And above 493.7, that's a fib level. Bottom could be in, and we could be heading up higher, maybe to get a W pattern or something like that. All right. Bitcoin got that nice pullback. As mentioned, if we break down 71.7K and 69.3K, we get a nice pullback. Yeah, nice pullback. So far, trying to bounce and recapture the 67.1K level. If it does, could be a false breakdown setup, bear trap, whatever you want to call it. Follow through would be to recapture 69.3K as well, and we'll likely head back to all-time highs, or maybe new all-time highs, 71.7K, 73.1K. And then for new all-time highs, I have targets at 74.3K, 75.5K, and 77.2K. For this to be a dead cat bounce, bears need to break it down 67.1, 65.4, and 64.2K. All those levels need to break down for this to be a dead cat bounce and for us to go back and test previous support levels or lower support levels. All right, guys, let's end this with the dark pool. 4.7 billion in premium at that 512.97 level. That's a dark pool level. You can round it to 513, whatever you want to do. And then we also had 3 billion in premium at the 508.11 level and 2.7 billion in premium at the 508.10 level. That's a strong buy zone that also aligned with one of my support resistant levels, okay? Here is the flows for 100K premiums or above. SPY is bearish. QQQ is bearish. IWM is bearish. They all agree with each other. NVDA is still bullish though. Tesla's bearish. Uh-oh. Apple's bullish. Amazon is bullish. Netflix is bullish. Google is bullish. But Google with the L is bearish. Uh-oh. Oh, come on. I went slow today, chat. I try to go slow today. Goodness gracious. All right, guys. Good luck this week. I'll see y'all tomorrow.